paired with Bryce Bonneau. Look for Wyatt Lewis, though, to slot right in. He's played a lot of minutes off the bench for the Irish, very comfortable in that spot. He will have to dictate the pace for this Notre Dame team.
Underway in one of the great non-conference matchups of just about every season. Notre Dame in white, Michigan State in green. They meet just about every year, except for when weather or pandemic gets in the way. And more often than not, it is tight, tense, and decided late. The last 5 games they've played have all been one-goal games, and the last 6 have been won by the visiting team. Something to keep an eye on, and something maybe in favor of Michigan State pulling an upset. Notre Dame, coming off of its conference opener, beat Clemson 3-2 here over the weekend. Really important win, as they all are, in the 8-game ACC slate. And Michigan State still less than a week away from starting Big Ten play. There is Sharp getting forward and driving it just wide of the post. It took a touch on the way through. Corner kick coming for Michigan State.
But it's right on cue here from Jeremy Sharp. We talked about how he loves to get in the up front and get the ball in and around the box. This is such a good effort. It looks like just a tip in the end from Brian Dowd to keep this game scoreless in the opening minute.
Set pieces a big deal for Michigan State. 5 goals already this year from set pieces. They've only scored 7. And they've only given up 1, so they're happy with that +4 margin so far. Sharp to deliver. A lot of traffic in the 6-yard box. Elijah Howe trying to let it run. Eventually keeps possession for Michigan State. And Brian Dowd with sure hands for Notre Dame. All right, Patty, you're coming off of your first conference win if you're Notre Dame. You got more conference action this weekend, and it's not an easy one at North Carolina. What does a critical midweek game like this feel like from a player's standpoint?
I think we talked about it a little bit in the open, in that sometimes these midweek games can be a letdown. I don't think that's going to be the case here for Notre Dame, in that they know what Michigan State's capable of bringing, and they know it's a quality side year in and year out. I would think this game feels more like an ACC matchup than a non-conference.
Notre Dame responds with a corner of its own. KK Bafour to take it. Up top, McDowd going back post, couldn't connect with anybody, and it's a goal kick for the Michigan State goalkeeper, Zach Kelly. First year as a starter for Kelly out of Holt, Michigan. 18 out of the 25 on the Michigan State roster are from the state. And he's already got 2 shutouts to his name through 4 contests. Michigan State also had a game ruled no contest. It was leading Loyola of Chicago 1-0 early stages of the second half, but hadn't played enough minutes for it to be an official game when it was canceled due to lightning, and so it just goes as a no contest. Cost Jonathan Stout a goal, maybe cost Zach Kelly a shutout. Michigan State beat Dayton 1-0 in its most recent game. Also had a road trip to the East Coast, beating Army 2-1 and tying Villanova 1-1 in the early going this season. That's Eby, number 2 in green, the freshman center back who's really held things down. Now, Patty, Notre Dame, obviously College Cup team 2 years ago, then missed out on the NCAA postseason last year. A lot of the same faces. What have you seen from this year's group off to their best start in 5 years?
I think you've seen a level of maturity early on that you don't always see in college soccer. You know, we talked to Chad Riley this week. He's a guy who knows his teams better than maybe any coach in college soccer, and he said, you know, this was a sophomore-heavy team a year ago. It's now a junior-heavy team, and that makes a huge difference. You're seeing a very tactically sound team who knows themselves and knows how they can get at teams in the attacking third.
Jeremy Cromer heading that down, the left back here for Michigan State. On a pass targeting Matt Rue. Ball comes to Rue anyway, though. Dangerous spot on the field. Tried to leave it for Lewis with a little bit of skill and saw it broken up. Michigan State not happy with Matt Radavoisa, a little something extra there. And the Spartans go forward. One of the great traditional programs, Michigan State in college soccer history. College Cup after College Cup appearance in the 60s. And then 2018 was kind of Damon Rensing's best moment, of course, as a head coach, reaching the College Cup, losing in the semifinals. Since then, 4 straight under 500 seasons. No NCAA tournament, of course, when you finish under 500. But as you said, Patty, before the game, it's still kind of one of the blue blood programs of college soccer.
And I think the Big Ten really has grown as a league. You know, we always talk about blue bloods that they have, you know, in Indiana and Maryland, but you're starting to see some other programs pop up. And now with conference realignment, they've grown a lot in teams like UCLA and Washington that'll come into the league. And so the Big Ten going to start to challenge the ACC if they haven't already. That's an exciting, you know, turn of events for that man and his program as well.
Damon Rensing, a player at Michigan State, and took over for his longtime head coach, Joe Baum. Damon Rensing's father, Gary, was actually honored last weekend as part of the U.S. national team's visit to St. Louis, one of the many St. Louis products who played for the U.S. years ago. He got his own jersey with, I believe it was number 250, because Damon Rensing's father, Gary, was the 250th player to suit up for the U.S. men. Early foul whistled by Nicole Green, the referee. The assistants Art Arustamian and Khalaf Al-Lataifa. Carlos Leyva, the 4th official for this one. Just underway, 8th minute on a cool night at Notre Dame. Both the Irish, the Spartans, undefeated on the season. It's a young season, albeit. And squaring off here. Patty Burns, the Notre Dame captain, the left back, throwing it in. Sat out their midweek game against Detroit Mercy last week, but ready to go today. I mean, especially having played Clemson Saturday night, Patty, that makes it 3 games in 7 days for Notre Dame. So I would not be surprised at any amount of substitutions in this one, trying to keep players fresh for Friday.
I mean, you're definitely going to have to see a rotation from Chad Riley. Not only the 3 games in a week that you note, but that's a quick turnaround. I mean, Saturday to Tuesday, the extra day of rest from Friday, it makes a huge difference. Not to mention, it was a frenetic game on Saturday against Clemson. It was up and it was down, and these players put in a lot of mileage. So it'd be something to note, especially as we get deeper and deeper into this one.
Throw in for Michigan State on that far side. Made the drive down yesterday. As you see Chad Riley looking on the Notre Dame bench. He also played in this rivalry. Chad Riley was 2-0 against Michigan State. And Damon Rensing was 0-1 against Notre Dame. About 10 years apart. Matt Rue coming back for the ball, working it forward. Here is Radavoisa looking for the big switch. Daniel Russo brought it down with the left foot. He's got some tricks, and he can't get the better of the Michigan State left back, Jacob Cromer.
And that's such a positive sign from Radavoisa. You see the vision that the senior Canadian has in the central midfield for this Irish team. He's going to dictate pace, but he's also so capable of changing the point of attack, finding speedy Daniel Russo on that wing, and letting him go to work.
Say, speaking of midweek games, Daniel Russo had a hat trick last year against Michigan. As that shot tests Zach Kelly early. First save for the Michigan State backstop.
Let me know you're over here.
11th minute, scoreless between Notre Dame and Michigan State. Spartans probably had the best chance with that early shot flashed wide by the right back Sharp. It was funny, Patty, because again, we looked at the scores. Last year it was 3-2. Notre Dame went up 3-0. Michigan State, I said, tried to come back, and Damon Rensing corrected me. We did come back. We were very close to tying that. The year before, Notre Dame was up 3-1, and Michigan State won it 4-3 on a Mutatu hat trick. And yet these teams are known for their defense. And so how do we get high-scoring games year after year with teams that would much rather be playing 1-0 games?
Well, the easy answer to that is that when you play a regional rivalry or any rivalry, there's a lot of emotion involved, and emotion brings goals. A lot of those games had early goals, and so it was a little bit, they were frenetic paces. But you bring up a good point, and that's that both of these teams are very tactically sound. They both play in that 4-4-2 with the flat four across midfield. They're capable of sitting in a bit and letting you play in front of them, and they're very hard to break down. It's sort of what we've seen through the opening 12 minutes. It's two teams that are comfortable with the ball, but maybe a little tricky in breaking one another down.
Russo trying to bring this under control, trying to get to the left foot, and Cromer had no time for Daniel Russo right there, moving on with it. Patty, I thought the 4-4-2 was dead. I mean, I keep seeing 4-3-3 everywhere I look, and yet you still have some very, very legitimate teams and programs using it very well.
Well, and I think what's even more surprising is to get two teams to play a 4-4-2 with the flat four. A lot of times we see that diamond in midfield, and you don't see a lot of it. But what both of these teams have is players who are capable of dropping into midfield, playing sort of that false nine, quasi-central attacking mid instead of forwards, and that'll be Spatafora for the Spartans. He loves to drop in and play a little deeper, and on the other side, Into for the Irish. And so a lot of times it'll look more like a 4-5-1.
Jonathan Stout, number 6 in green, trying to make something happen there. He's got one of their best attacking moments of the season, certainly. That's a mistake. It falls for Eno. Ento blasts it high. Good chance for Notre Dame. Came out of a slip up at the back.
And we've seen a lot of possession from both sides really here in the opening 13 minutes. This just comes off a little bit of a misplay from the freshman Will Eby. Falls fortunately to Eno Ento. Can't get his body over that, but a positive sign getting in behind that Spartan back line from the junior.
We'd seen him play wide, and it seemed like there was a lot of trying to find the best position for Ento, for Russo, for Bafor, and it seems like they've really settled on this with Ento, who came in as a winger, settling in as a number 9, and as you said, able to combine with Matt Rue.
Well, certainly you got to find the right spot for individuals, but I think just as important for the trio you just named in Rue, Into, and Bafor is getting them on the field at the same time. And I think what they've settled in here, KK Bafor on that left-hand side coming out of the midfield, has really been successful early on this year for Chad Riley. And so that trio, along with Daniel Russo bombing up the right, poses a little bit of a formidable attack for the Irish in that those are 4 forwards that you got on the field at the same time. And if they're running at you, you might have issues.
Michigan State will bring up some big targets. You see Elijah Howe, number 3, trotting forward. 6th-year grad student from Australia. One of the targets. Ball comes back, and Sharp will deliver once again. I mean, if he can take the long throws and the corners and the free kicks, Patty, he's going to rack up some assists.
Yeah, he's already racking up some assists, but that long throw is so dangerous. We see it on the Notre Dame side with Kyle Gennebacher when he's in the game. but the long throw just comes at a different trajectory than anything that back line will see. It's so hard to defend, especially if you can get the initial flick and get that ball to knock down in the box.
Brian Dowd, third full year as the starter in the Notre Dame goal, and a smile there based on how the goal kick played out. Again, you look at this Notre Dame team and you say, well, they brought, I think it's 19 of 21 players back, and guys who made contributions from last year. And you say, well, the team was under 500. How good is that? But you're still talking about 7 players from the College Cup team in 2021, and it's a familiar group that has hit the ground running.
Well, and maybe the most interesting thing that we heard Chad Riley say when we talked to him this week, the training ground is our transfer portal. I mean, he has grown this team through the way that they train, the way that they prepare day in and day out. And in a college landscape where there's a lot of transfer, this is a team that is stuck together, and that could pay dividends late in the year.
Back out wide for Sharp. Dangerous one, headed clear by Ferguson. Notre Dame trying to get moving on the counter, and Michigan State able to deal with it and go backward for Kelly. This is Grayson Mercer. Now, technically, he's from Utah, but his dad grew up 5 miles from Michigan State's campus, so they count him as an honorary Michigander. Number 9, some big goals last year for Michigan State, even as they faltered down the stretch. There's Mercer, yet to get on the scoreboard this year. 4 goals last year, and 3 of them were game-tying or game-winning goals in Big Ten play. All right, what have you made of this so far, Patty? Michigan State seems pretty comfortable in this one.
I would say actually both teams seem pretty comfortable. I think Notre Dame is happy to let Michigan State have the ball in front of them. And aside from the chance that we saw 30 seconds into this game, Michigan State really hasn't gotten anything in the attacking third from that lion's share of possession. On the same way, Notre Dame is comfortable in playing in front of Michigan State. So there just hasn't been a lot in the first 18 minutes, and I think that's understandable given how these two teams play.
Bafour popping up in the middle of the field with Burns outside of him. Driven across, and toe shot held on the line by Zach Kelly. Notre Dame creates a chance that quickly and continues to threaten.
And this really is how Notre Dame loves to build through possession. Get the ball out wide, get Patty Burns forward, and there you see the quality from the senior on the left-hand side. A fantastic ball across for Enoento inside the 6-yard box. And if you're the junior from England, you got to do better. This is a sitter and one that he will want back.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Notre Dame wants to move the ball in a lot of patterns, is Bafour coming inside and Burns rushing up the left side in his place. Spatafora, 22 in green, tries to get that ahead for Mercer. And 18 in white, Josh Ramsey, first time we've called his name, had the position and wins the free kick. Junior from Plano, Texas. We told you Michigan State will recruit based on Michigan, 18 of their 25 players from the state. Notre Dame has players from 13 states and 4 countries. It's a very different roster build. Out wide for Burns. And to scoop it up and over. Notre Dame wanted the deflection, but the decision is goal kick. Yeah, not easy to break these guys down, and that's what gives you the most reason to believe Michigan State can be a force in the Big Ten this year. It's a Big Ten, Patty, could be pretty open. Indiana's had some uncharacteristic results, lost at South Florida, almost, but not quite. Dropped out of the top 25, which would have been newsworthy. Northwestern, meanwhile, on the rise. This is about 4 for Notre Dame, trying to get the switch in. Sean McDowd, number 3, is the right back today. Kyle Genenbacher being rested at least to start. And the long diagonal didn't work out with the timing. It'll roll all the way to Kelly. Haven't seen either Stout on this near side for Michigan State or Kerrigan on the far side really get that involved. Those are two of their more dangerous chance creators. This is Russo out for McDowd. Rue trying to combine top of the penalty area or find space. In the end, Howe poked it away. McDowd's delivery drifts and winds up as a back post shot, comfortably claimed by Kelly.
Right, and you note, Jonathan, that we haven't seen either of those wide midfielders in Kerrigan and Stout for the Spartans, but really we haven't seen Michigan State find the central midfielders either, and I think that is just a consequence of this Notre Dame middle four and how they drop in. It's really hard to find spaces in between those the back line and the midfield. But if you're the Spartans, you got to get the ball to Zagay and Berletti and let them be the metronome in midfield to find a little bit of a rhythm going forward.
Notre Dame 11 goals this year, 6 of those in the first 25 minutes. So we're nearing the 25-minute mark. Neither of these teams has allowed a second half goal this year, just looking ahead. So if we don't get one in the next 22 minutes, we may not be getting any. Time will tell. '24th minute at Alumni Stadium. Notre Dame 4-0-1 and ranked 10th in the country against Michigan State 3-0-1 on the young season. Michigan State had the game's first chance a minute in, has not had a shot since. Notre Dame has forced 3 saves out of Zach Kelly. Here's Bufford trying to play it through, and Daniel Russo is the one making the run, but couldn't really deal with a pass up around his neck. This is Stout against 6. Really dangerous inverted player when he can run at goal. And Notre Dame so far successfully keeping him playing backward much of the time. That's Radavoisa for Notre Dame, and mishit as he tried to play it forward. Chance for Michigan State to counter. Too slow, and McDowd over to head it clear. '26th minute, no score yet. But again, Patty, we've seen Notre Dame create, I'd say, more chances than Michigan State. The numbers would bear that out as well since the early stages. What's Notre Dame been doing well, and what do they need to make clear to find a go-ahead goal?
I think when you've seen Notre Dame at their best and the best chance they created really comes from playing through midfield, switching the point of attack, and getting Patty Burns up that left-hand side from his left back spot. So dangerous when they can add someone in midfield, as you see him bomb down that left-hand side here. When you can add a number in midfield and create that overload in wide areas, that's a place where Notre Dame thrives in the attacking third and really can create some dangerous chances.
You could see Burns' skill there to fake out 3 players, get the pass forward, keep the ball moving. Bafour plays it square. Wyatt Lewis takes aim, and after taking a touch, Michigan State was able to close that down.
And again, this is a long stretch of possession for Notre Dame that ends up finding the foot of Wyatt Lewis. Like the earlier chances, hasn't been able to get his body over the ball, but it's another good sign in getting forward, getting in good spots, and creating chances in that Michigan State half. Wyatt Lewis is a player we know is capable from distance, and so it's only a matter of time before he tests Zach Kelly in that Spartan goal.
Notre Dame football team contributing to the atmosphere. No goals yet to liven this place up, though. 27th minute. Lewis in the Notre Dame midfield, first career start tonight. He's one of those who went and took a year playing in Europe during high school. He's actually in Germany. And you kind of develop a different perspective at that young age. We see players do that. We see players also compete at high levels with MLS academies. So many different backgrounds that all kind of come together on the college soccer scene.
And he just looks so comfortable. I mean, this is the first time that we've seen him in that starting spot for the Irish. But we've seen him play meaningful minutes off the bench, and he's calm, he's cool, he's composed in a college soccer game that often can be fast-paced and hard to come off the bench and settle in that center mid spot.
Sean McDowd, the other insertion into the Notre Dame lineup at right back, number 3, true freshman from Oregon, where he was part of the Portland Timbers Academy. A couple other freshmen trying to work their way into minutes off the bench. Spicer and Zimmerman, who we could see tonight, but it's not easy to break into this group. Mitch Ferguson, number 2, knows that. Took him most of the year before he became a starter last season. Adavoisa head up, looking for Burns down the left. Combination play at the corner of the penalty area. Diagonal looking for Rue, too far for him, and it runs out for a goal kick. Changes for Michigan State. And we see Jack Gugamis replace Jonathan Stout. Former Michigan Mr. Soccer. Not every state has a Mr. Soccer. What did Virginia have, Patty? Are you just like player of the year or MVP?
If there was a Mr. Soccer, I was not it.
I feel like it's Michigan and Minnesota that really give it out as Mr. and Ms. Soccer. Maybe Indiana does too, because I know they do it for basketball. They've got a couple on the Michigan State roster, as you'd expect. Always battling with Michigan and usually with Western Michigan as well to reel in the best high school talent. Driven switch by Howe, brought down from Mercer to the feet of, well, now back to Mercer again off the boot of Spadafora. Sharp getting forward. One of the opportunities where Michigan State has had the most numbers in the attacking third other than a set piece here. This is Cristiano Bruletti, transfer from South Carolina after coming through Atlanta United's academy to finish his high school days. First year at Michigan State, has been ever present in that midfield as the long ball can't find Mercer and runs all the way to Brian Dowd. The football guys are big on Brian Dowd, Patty. Is it because he had a chance to walk onto the football team and he didn't? But for some reason, he seems to be the favorite.
Well, he was a prolific field goal kicker in high school.
Right.
And maybe, maybe those are his boys.
And hey, Notre Dame soccer player kicking field goals. And just ring a bell with anybody?
That story this week. Yeah.
Brandon Aubrey, the Cowboys kicker, former All-American center back for Notre Dame. 2 field goals, 4 extra points in his first game over the weekend. I asked Chad Riley if he was going to get any tickets, and he said, I haven't made that request yet. Give the guy some time to settle in. Notre Dame trying to set up camp in the Michigan State half. 6 is Wyatt Lewis. Ahead for Russo. Now before hitting it first time and pulling it wide. I like the decision to hit it without taking a touch. That one didn't hit the target.
And as you say, this is a good decision from KK before. A little bit of broken play just falls to KK before. Ultimately wraps that right foot around it just a bit too much and doesn't put it on Zach Kelly's net. But it just seems to be that Notre Dame starting to knock on the door, starting to get chance after chance or half chances that really are starting to look more and more dangerous. There you see KK before coming inside.
KK before played his high school soccer in Connecticut, and he was just player of the year. He wasn't Mr. Connecticut, but that's all right. He's down at the moment. Clock stopped to check on before, originally from Ghana. Kind of got sandwiched between Bruletti and Mercer. Are you surprised we haven't seen any Notre Dame subs yet? Not because they're not playing well, they look fine, but just in terms of managing minutes?
Yeah, perhaps, but this is a game that Notre Dame really has grown into. I mean, it was a little bit of Michigan State on the attacking end in the first 5-10 minutes of the game. Since then, Notre Dame's looked very comfortable. They've had a lot of possession, and they look good in moving the ball side to side. So from a rhythm perspective, you really don't want to mess with that if you're Chad Riley, and that's likely why you haven't seen more subs off the bench.
Notre Dame frustrated a foul wasn't called there, but they get the ball back quickly, and now a little miscommunication. That one will roll out on the near side. Always hard to peer into that Notre Dame bench area. Another change for Michigan State as Mercer comes off, replaced by Ifosa Imovan, junior from London, Ontario. His brother played at Michigan and at UConn. And space opening here on the right, driven low and converted. Michigan State strikes first. Sean Kerrigan, quiet so far, slots one home in the 35th minute.
Well, this comes directly against the run of play, but we talked about Sean Kerrigan and the quality that he brings. The transfer from Mercyhurst had 20 goals a year ago, and that's why. So cool, calm, and composed in that box. Doesn't give Brian Dowd a chance and puts the Spartan up 1-0.
Jack Gugamis set him up. And Kerrigan, who got his first Michigan State goal on a penalty kick against Villanova, gets his second one here. And it puts Notre Dame behind for the first time this season, late in the first half. I mean, not much Dowd could do. That was an organizational mix-up where everybody pinched to the ball and left Kerrigan in all kinds of space.
Yeah, it's good vision from Gugamis just into the game to slot that ball to Kerrigan. But you're right, I mean, all sorts of space bobbing up that right-hand side was Kerrigan. If you got to have that much time, you should be able to slot it home. That's exactly what he did to beat Dowd.
Kerrigan, irony of ironies, from Ireland, from Sligo. Played for Finn Harps before coming to the U.S. with Mercyhurst. He said that first year at Mercyhurst was the hardest but the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. Took me completely out of my comfort zone, and well, he sure looked comfortable with the 20 goals last year. So it was even later in the first half on Saturday that Notre Dame got a bit of a gut punch, with Clemson scoring 2 goals in a minute to tie that game. Here they have some time to play before the halftime whistle. But again, it's a question of how do you respond?
Well, and I think it's a very similar spot. Yeah, sure, Clemson came back to tie that game, and Notre Dame didn't find themselves trailing. But you're right, it's got to feel similar in that Notre Dame really has had the better of the play, especially over the last half hour. They've had more chances. They've been creative in and around the box, but they haven't put one on the board. And Michigan State has quality, and that's what you see from a team who's bided their time, waited for their chance, and now gone up 1-0. For Chad Riley, though, he's got to be disappointed, and it's not time to change much, but the message has to be, we've been here before, there's a lot of time left, and keep your pedal to the metal, because there should be goals left in this game.
Let's say if Notre Dame scored first, you said, okay, maybe they can close up shop, but I have a feeling this thing can open up. Again, Michigan State's just allowed 2 goals in 4 games this season, really 4.5 with the Loyola game. Michigan State sideline up in arms after Radovoisa's tackle that Nicole Green tells us was focused on the ball. Tackle's starting to pick up. We can hear it up here. This is Gugamis. Eby goes inside for Bruletti, number 12. This is Zuge, the captain, number 5. Michigan State from that turnover, driving all the way into the penalty area, takes a deflection, and Dowd had to be sharp with the reflexes to knock that away. Brian Dowd coming up big to keep it 1-0. Can Notre Dame counter, but you see how quickly Michigan State gets numbers behind the ball. Michigan State leads 1-0 on Sean Kerrigan's goal in the 35th minute. Notre Dame had the better of play up to that point.
Come on, man, come on.
See subs ready at the halfway line for both teams. Russo beat one man, tripped up, free kick, Notre Dame.
And this is good work down that right-hand side from Daniel Russo just to get by his man and get forward. I think Jack Sugay is a little fortunate not to go into the book of Nicole Green, because that, for me, is a professional foul stopping that Notre Dame attack.
Patty Burns with the right-footed delivery, and dangerous, but too high for the head of Eno Ento.
Come on.
40th minute, and Michigan State trying to lock this down to the half. One of their difference makers, Kerrigan, putting them in front. Movan and Ramsey with a good collision there. Neat footwork by Rue to keep possession for the Irish, but it turns quickly back to Michigan State. Out for a goal kick, and we'll finally get the subs who have been waiting so patiently. That's Nolan Spicer, freshman from Ohio, checking in for Ento. And Sebastian Green, sophomore from Monterey, California, checking in as well. Kyle Schuneman in for Michigan State, replacing the goal scorer, Kerrigan. "42nd minute, Notre Dame trying to create some sort of chance before the half runs out. And if you've been watching Florida and Florida State on the volleyball court, welcome to men's soccer from Alumni Stadium in South Bend. Michigan State leads 10th ranked Notre Dame in a battle of unbeaten teams on this Tuesday night. I'm Jonathan Yardley. He's Patty Foss, a national champion at Virginia. I won't say the year, Patty. Thoughts on this one early, because it felt like Notre Dame was in control of the game, but one slip opened the door for Michigan State.
Well, that's right, and it's been a game of two teams that are very tactically sound, that like to have the ball in possession, and that are comfortable in their defensive postures. The difference in this game, though, was, as you say, one slip up and a very good finish from a very talented Sean Kerrigan down that right-hand side for Michigan State. So Notre Dame will feel hard done to go down to the half 1-0 if that's how it happens, and Michigan State a little bit fortunate.
Notre Dame in white, 4-0-1 on the year, just moved up from 20th to 10th in the rankings released today after a 3-2 win, a thrilling one over Clemson on Saturday night. Michigan State 3-0-1, starting Big Ten play next weekend. The decision is corner. That one last touched Josh Ramsey of Notre Dame.
Well, we noted it early, Jonathan.
Appeals.
These set pieces are so important if you're Notre Dame. You cannot lose your focus, because this is a Michigan State team that already has 5 goals on set pieces through the year. They have big bodies in Elijah Howe, 6'2", and Will Eby at 6 foot. So an important moment in this match to keep your concentration if you're the Irish.
Yeah, the goal earlier was only their 3rd of the year from open play. 5 of the 8 goals have come from restarts. At the back post, McDowd elected to let that go. You could hear the cries of away. He tried to shield it out and did in the end, but it was risky. Dowd tried to go early, but mishit it. Visiting team has won the last 6 games in this matchup, 5 of them by 1 goal. And so Michigan State trying to stay on track with that. Notre Dame trying to grab one here before the half. Final minute of the first half. See the energy still. Jake Spatafora, 22 for Michigan State, pressing up top. Notre Dame just lashing it long, and it eluded everybody. And this will likely run down the first half. So Michigan State, their toughest test of the season. They've beaten Bowling Green, Army, Dayton, and tied Villanova. They get number 10 Notre Dame, and they get the lead. Take it to the half. Underway in the second half with Michigan State out to a 1-0 lead on Sean Kerrigan's goal in the 35th minute. Notre Dame has not trailed this year until this game. They had not been shut out in a first half until this game. And again, neither team has given up a second half goal, so Notre Dame certainly hopes something's going to give here. Both teams back to their starting lineups for the most part to open the second half. We'll reset those for you shortly as Michigan State attacks and sees it come out for a goal kick. 4-4-2 formation on both sides for Notre Dame. That means Brian Dowd in goal. Sean McDowd is the right back, number 3 you see. Mitch Ferguson, Josh Ramsey, the center backs. Patty Burns, the left back. Central midfielders, Wyatt Lewis, Matt Radavoisa. Wide midfielders, Daniel Russo on the right, KK Befor on the left. Forwards are Eno Ento and Matt Rue for the head coach, who we just heard from, Chad Riley. Michigan State also in a 4-4-2. May see them drop that second forward deeper into the midfield as the second half goes on. We'll keep an eye on that. Zach Kelly is the goalkeeper. Jeremy Sharp, Will Eby, Elijah Howe, and Jacob Cromer, the back line right to left, as Michigan State wins a free kick. Jack Zuge, Cristiano Bruletti, the central midfielders. Sean Kerrigan on the right, Jonathan Stout on the left are wide. Jake Spatafora and Grayson Mercer, the forwards through the middle for Michigan State, and Damon Rensing. So check that, free kick Notre Dame's way here, 48th minute. And it was taken, I believe, before the whistle had gone, so KK Befor will probably be happy to get another chance to deliver this one. Instead, they take it short out wide. Delivery whistles in and wide of the net for a goal kick. So we heard from Chad Riley. Obviously, he's not going to tell us all the adjustments they're looking to make. Patty, what would you like to see Notre Dame do in this second half?
Well, I'd like to see something similar to what Chad told us. I mean, he wants to see a response from his team. He wants to see some energy in his group, and he wants to see really someone to up the ante, to take the game by the horns and see if you can drive into that Michigan State half, see if you can push the tempo and create some more chances. It was a comfortable first 45 for Notre Dame, and they looked good in possession, but they really only mustered half chances and didn't really test Zach Kelly and that Michigan State goal enough. So you need some more energy. We know it's midweek, and we know you've played just 2 days ago, but you need to find a goal and not drop points here at home.
When you were a player, how did you deal with that line between, hey, we're playing well, and what the scoreboard says? Because a lot of times you feel like there's a lot of good things happening, and a play here or there will put you on the wrong side of a score. Did you get down based more on the result or more on the performance?
Well, I think you would certainly like to say you didn't get down at all.
That's driven and stopped by Dowd, who's able to hang on to the rebound.
And ideally, you'd find that balance. But, you know, as you see a good drive in by Jake Spatafora here and a good effort on frame. But, again, this was the issue for Notre Dame in the first half, is that they had a lot of the ball, and yet when the ball turns over, Michigan State has looked good in transition and is creating more chances. So back to your initial question, Jonathan, and that's how do you find the balance of getting a little angry and not accepting the result, but knowing you're playing okay here. I think if you're Notre Dame, it really has to do with the energy that we saw in the first half and really pushing the tempo, asking more questions of Michigan State, and perhaps throwing some numbers forward and finding some more chances. We said it time and again, but this Notre Dame team is at their best when they can get the ball wide, when they can overload those wide areas with Patty Burns, with Sean McDowd from the outside back spots. That's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of energy expended, but that's where the goals are going to come from.
Second of 3 games in 7 days for Notre Dame. Again, they're at North Carolina. First true road test on Friday after hosting Clemson Saturday, and obviously this one tonight. That's 3 high-level games in a week. This is Mitch Ferguson, number 2, sophomore, trying to play out of the back for Notre Dame. All right, Patty, not necessarily a Big Ten guy, but I'm going to put you in the other locker room at halftime. As Eno Ento battling with Eby here. Russo slaloms, hits it, bounces it wide, not that far away.
And this is good from Dan Russo, just cutting inside on that favored left foot. We know how potent he is with that left foot. Doesn't miss much on that far post, but a good sign early on in this second half for Notre Dame. Asking questions, a little bit of an individual effort, and a chance on just off frame there for the Irish.
You heard KK before, if you watch the halftime report, saying that his teammate Russo better watch out. He's going to look like Borat with the mustache. He's still rocking it. I guess if you're undefeated, don't change anything, right?
I certainly would, especially if you're going to hit bangers like we saw the other night in that Clemson match. Daniel Russo with the free kick winner. I think you got to hang on to what's working.
All right, so we'll put you in the Michigan State locker room. What do you think the message was from Damon Rensing at halftime?
I think it's that you have an opportunity, and that opportunity is to find a win against a top 10 opponent on the road. And if you're in the Big Ten, we've talked about the parity of that league, and certainly they have some quality, but Maryland struggled, Indiana has struggled. Sure, Northwestern's off to a hot start, but you're going to have fewer opportunities to find wins, signature wins at the end of the year, and this is certainly a huge opportunity for his Spartans team if they can close this game out.
Tremendous long ball out of the back to find Burns there and win Notre Dame a throw-in. 53rd minute. Again, Michigan State went up in the 35th minute. A goal from Sean Kerrigan, Irish native. And here's Bafour. Saw his shot blocked.
And one thing you're seeing that's a little bit different from that first half, Jonathan, is both KK Bafor and Dan Russo tucking more inside, allowing that space to open up for those outside backs to get around them. They're finding really good spots in this first 9 minutes of the second frame, just like here, to get the ball in between the lines of Michigan State and create.
Oh, the dummy was fantastic to set that up for Burns. He's frustrated it didn't come off, but they will get a corner.
And it's when they can find the ball in between the lines of Michigan State. This time it was Matthew Rue dropping in deep, but Patty Burns in this spot is a good sign for Chad Riley. It's where he's so dangerous in picking players out. This time goes for a corner, but good signs for the Irish.
It'll be a goal kick for Michigan State. Zach Kelly got really into working at a golf course, mowing greens, mowing tee boxes, so he is a crop and soil sciences major at Michigan State. So he's every field they're going on, he's taking notes and making sure he knows just what to do when he's in charge one day.
Certainly has been the superintendent of that back line, only giving up 2 goals all year.
We handing out nicknames here?
Yeah, I mean, perhaps. I mean, I'm not against it.
I don't know if the superintendent quite rolls off the tongue, but we'll go with it.
All right.
This is Gugamis, who stayed in place of Stout at the half, wide on the left for Michigan State. Spadafora finds him. Yeah, Michigan State played earlier than Notre Dame, and they don't play until Sunday at Rutgers. So it's a much more expansive week for them in terms of rest. Second ball found Bafor in space. Got a lot of numbers around him, and it is a throw-in for Michigan State, correctly called at the halfway line. There you see it, 4 goals for, none allowed for Michigan State in the second half this year. That's only in 4 games, but still good reputation. Some contact there, and Michigan State can't believe no call came between McDowd and Gugamis. Headed clear by Burns. And Bafor will take the throw-in for Notre Dame as we go back to that last challenge.
Well, this is a big moment in the match for our center referee, Nicole Green. You see Gugamis just get around the outside, and for me, it's a penalty. I mean, Sean McDowd goes to ground. It's clumsy. It's a little bit exaggerated there from Gugamis, but certainly contact and a clumsy challenge at the very least.
Right. I mean, is it a foul anywhere else on the field? Feels like yes.
It almost feels like if Gugamis doesn't make a meal out of it, he probably gets the call.
In this case, none came. So 57th minute, Bruletti. Surrounded by 3, but keeps it moving. That's the goal scorer, Kerrigan, taken out by Burns. Free kick coming in a dangerous spot for Michigan State. Remember how good they are on these restarts. That was Northern Ireland versus Ireland on the near side.
Well, it's Patty Burns just diving in a little bit here on a very tricky, very crafty Sean Kerrigan. Just stands his ground. Certainly a foul there, and as you say, a very dangerous spot here for a ball whipped in that 6-yard box in front of Brian Dowd.
Jeremy Sharp, the sophomore from Roseville, Michigan, who played his last year of high school in the Sporting Kansas City Academy. And Damon Rensing said he's our version of Patty Burns. gets up and down, delivers dead balls, and will send this one in as well. Successfully defended by Notre Dame. That is no small thing, and the Irish now will have a throw-in. I'll bring it all the way back to the point of the throw to turn that over to Michigan State.
That might be a foul throw, Jonathan.
I was thinking the same thing. We're both kind of grimacing.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you just have one that gets thrown straight out of bounds, you're probably not paying attention for the foul throw straight back.
It all comes out in the wash. 45 seconds later, Notre Dame has the same thing, a throw in the same spot. And they give it away, and McDowd is really late and high, and he may be the first to receive a yellow card in this one.
Ultimately, it's just a little bit of a bad touch back there from Wyatt Lewis. Puts Sean McDowd in a bad spot, who has to take that foul. You can't let Gugumis bomb down that left-hand side, and a good foul if a yellow card there from the freshman.
Jeremy Sharp trying to get away with whatever he can, and Nicole Green saying no, the foul was right up against the touchline. 60th minute, and defending these set pieces critical for Notre Dame here. Not up to the standards Jeremy Sharp holds himself to, as that one is cleared away. One of the other topics we had with both coaches: can you stay healthy and can you stay consistent? And for both who are off to such good starts, maintaining that level, especially against conference opposition, is going to determine how this season is remembered. Final 30 minutes here with Michigan State leading 1-0, trying to extend their unbeaten start and hand Notre Dame its first loss of the year. Rue the target there, lets it run for Russo. Going left. Plenty on it, and Kelly able to catch after palming up into the air.
And this is a chance seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, we've seen Notre Dame so comfortable in possession. This comes from just a long ball over the top from Josh Ramsey, a different look from Notre Dame. But again, finding Daniel Russo wide, letting him go to work, show some of that individual prowess. In the end, it's straight at Zach Kelly. But it's a good chance there and a good spot for a talented Daniel Russo.
Hit long out of the back. Ento chasing. Howe with a missed touch, and Kelly timed that well to clear it with a slide. A lot of subs ready and waiting for Notre Dame.
Substitutions for Notre Dame.
Spicer, Nate Zimmerman, and Mo Williams into the game for the first time today. And Sebastian Green in as well, as you get a look at a little bit of a blast from the past there on the Michigan State sideline. As we confirm the subs for you. That's Guy Bush in the white hat, Michigan State's all-time points leader with 130. Played in a couple of national championship games, and he goes into the Michigan State Hall of Fame this weekend, and he wanted to be around the team. They got him traveling with the team down here yesterday and watching on. Pretty neat to have that connection. And again, Damon Rensing played under Baum, who was the goalkeeper on those teams back then. So it really is a close connection through the years for the Michigan State soccer program. And they're trying to pull off a pretty big road win. Again, the road team has had success in this matchup, but it's never easy. And right now, Zach Kelly lining up the wall for a dangerous free kick. KK Bafor, the right footer, Patty Burns, the left footer, standing over it for Notre Dame.
This is the exact spot that we saw Daniel Russo put one in the back of the net. Of course, not against Clemson, not on the field now. Look for Patty Burns to try to get this up and over that wall.
Instead, Bafor punched away by Kelly. Full stretch to his left. Managed that really well, and it's the last action for the moment for Bafor as Nick Legendry replaces him. Replacing number 16. This is a chance for a couple of freshmen and guys who haven't had big minutes to provide some spark and some life for Notre Dame. They've been creating chances. Down 1-0 in this one. This is Mo Williams, big number 14, came in as a day one starter at center back as a transfer last year, but eventually that became Ferguson's spot, and so he's coming off the bench this season. Nate Zimmerman, number 20 in white. Nolan Spicer, number 22. Couple of freshmen who are getting some important minutes here, not only to help Notre Dame come back, but also for them to earn more time. This is how you do it.
And especially for Spicer, he is so crafty, he loves to find those pockets of space. He's a player that Chad Riley tells us is akin to like a Pat Hodan of the past, a Harry Shipp, two players who are Notre Dame royalty here. Look for him to maybe be a little bit of a different maker in this game, in that he can find those pockets of space and bring a little creativity to a Notre Dame team who really has been lacking in that attacking third.
I think just saying Harry Shipp, you probably gave shivers to a bunch of Michigan State fans, because just about every game during Harry Shipp's tenure here, his name's on the score sheet. And the Michigan State answer, of course, more recently was Farai Mutatu, who just tormented Notre Dame. And here's Jonathan Stout back into the game, really dangerous attacker for Michigan State, replacing Gugamis, who set up the goal. Spatafora trying to run in. Did get clipped. And a free kick coming for Michigan State again.
And Radovoisa pleading his case, trying to say shoulder to shoulder. This is really unnecessary from the senior. I mean, this is a ball that's coming back Notre Dame's way. It's late from Matt Radovoisa, and it's just unnecessary. That is 100% a foul and a dangerous spot for a free kick at that.
Talafa Latifa, the AR on this near side, was all over that. Again, Jeremy Sharp to deliver and try and put it in a dangerous spot. Came off of Sebastian Green, out for a Michigan State corner.
One moment at a time. Come on. Green. Let's go, Dylan. Let's go, Green.
Notre Dame women on hand as well. Also ranked in the top 20 at the moment. Nicole Green stopped the clock, said go straight up. I'm talking to all three of you in here. Go straight up. I'm watching you. Great work from our audio crew to get that. Fourth Michigan State corner. Didn't make it to that group of bodies. Rue trying to switch it for Notre Dame. Back to the far side and Mo Williams. Dangerous ball at the near post. Headed down by Eby and cleared away.
And you're starting to now see Notre Dame, both outside backs, getting into that attack, switching the point of attack, and finding that service that Chad Riley talked to us at halftime, said was so necessary to break down that low block from Michigan State.
Burns the target here, trying to keep it moving for Legendry. Well broken up by Radovoisa for Notre Dame. That one too close to the goalkeeper Kelly, who will take his time sliding on that turf. Michigan State, a lot of road games early this season at Rutgers. Then they'll be home a week from Friday against Indiana. Indiana lost to South Florida over the weekend. South Florida was beating Clemson last we saw. Team that started the year 0-3. May pull off back-to-back wins over big-time programs. And if you're a college soccer on TV watcher, and you must be, South Florida will play SMU on ESPNU in a week and a half. You can catch them as well as all these ACC squads. 70th minute here, and Patty, the second half has seen Notre Dame, carry the ball and the chances even more. Is it just keep doing what you're doing and it's going to come? Or do they need to do something more drastic to up the urgency?
I think the latter. I think if you're Chad Riley, you're going to have to throw some more numbers forward. You're going to have to try to maybe press Michigan State deeper in their own half, see if you can get a takeaway and hit them a little quicker, because the spells of possession, the long spells of possession and pushing Michigan State back, Spartans have looked so comfortable keeping the ball in front of them. Can you go a little bit more direct? Can you press a little higher and see if you can up the ante in the final 19 minutes here?
Well, clearly I spoke too soon for South Florida, because it's now Clemson 3, South Florida 2 in the final 5 minutes in that one. So that'll make for some fun tape. And sorry, Patty, Virginia won, James Madison won the final.
James Madison, top 10 team on the road for Virginia. That's not the worst result I've ever seen.
Yeah, and Virginia finished with 10. On the move, Spatafora won it for Michigan State. This is Stout, he's dangerous. Going right, and we've seen him score that almost exact goal before. Couldn't keep that one on target.
Well, and again, we're seeing how dangerous this Michigan State team is in transition. This time, it's Jonathan Stout on that left-hand side, cutting inside. We know how dangerous he is on that right-hand boot, and this time cannot put it on Brian Dowd's net, but more of the same for Damon Rensing, and Michigan State has to feel so comfortable here heading into the final 18.
A lot of space for Patty Burns on this near side. Again, he couldn't connect on the cross, but the chances are starting to open up.
kick for Notre Dame, taking the kick for the Fighting Irish. Number 28, Nicholas Legendry.
Nick Legendry, the sophomore from New Mexico, will take the corner rather than Burns as they get an in-swinger in there. Great delivery to the back post, and Kelly punches away. Notre Dame still has the big bodies up. Can they be caught on the counter? Stout slipping it for Spadafora. Neat pass. Zuge on the run. Awkward spot for Ramsey, but he's able to pound it away toward midfield. You saw if Notre Dame's going to commit numbers, and Patty says they should, it is going to open things up at the other end when the ball turns over as well. That's why we're looking forward to these final 17 minutes.
And you just have to up the line of confrontation if you're the Irish. You cannot sit deep and allow the game to come to you. You've got to ask questions of that back line of Michigan State when they're in possession and see if you can create turnovers in the attacking half.
There's Legendry, just involved in that collision. Emovon chases this into the corner, and it will be a Notre Dame goal kick. 5 goals on the season for Matt Rue. Not even a shot tonight, Patty, for which I assume you have to give a lot of credit to Michigan State's center back tandem, and Rue will come out for the moment here.
Well, you got to give a lot of credit really across the back line for Michigan State. Matt Rue is at his best when he gets service, and he hasn't seen the ball. Notre Dame has looked out of sync. They haven't been able to get the ball into the big forward and allow him to do what he does best, and that's operate in and around the goal with the ball at his feet. So it's a credit to the Spartans, but it's also a little bit of a head scratcher from Notre Dame in that you've gotten away from what you're best at. That's getting it wide, getting service into your forwards.
Bafor trying to combine with Legendry. He lost his footing at the wrong moment. Bafor and Ento back in with more than 15 minutes left in this one. Notre Dame chasing it. From Sean Kerrigan's goal in the 35th minute. The difference right now. 4 saves as well from Zach Kelly in the Michigan State goal.
And again, this is Notre Dame. What they want to do is get that ball wide into Patty Burns and serve it into the box. In the end there, it's just a step behind Ento. But that's what we've been talking about. It's getting service into your goal scorers and allowing them chances to equalize this game.
Really loose touch there, turned it over to Notre Dame. Ento, though, back to goal, couldn't hold it. Spadafora got it away to Emovon, but won back by Notre Dame. Wyatt Lewis back in for Sebastian Green here. Well, that's given away. Gugamis looking for instant offense for Michigan State, and his pass let him down. Bafor through the middle, waiting for the overlap. Looking for the return pass, and consciously defended by Gugamis to stay with him.
Right, it's just too slow from Notre Dame in transition. You can't allow Michigan State to get back and get set.
Spicer's delivery. Off of whom did it deflect? Michigan State. Corner kick coming for Notre Dame.
Corner kick for Notre Dame, taking the kick, number 16, K.K. Baffle.
Bafor to take from the near side. Not a whole lot clear cut came from that. So 78th minute, Michigan State trying to close this out and pick up a third shutout in 5 games. And again, it really speaks to how open the Big Ten could be this year if Michigan State is going to be back to this level and playing this kind of defense.
I think wide open. I mean, we've seen already Maryland 1-2-1, had some tough results, losing to Virginia on the road on Labor Day, and Indiana, some uncharacteristic results here early on. So certainly, I mean, this is a quality Michigan State team. They're organized. They can frustrate you from the way they set up. And as we've seen tonight, they're capable and have the individual talent to put the ball in the back of the net. They could absolutely be a contender in that Big Ten.
Last 5 games between these teams decided by 1 goal, so we expected nothing less. Can Notre Dame find a tying goal here in the final 11.5 minutes? Or can Michigan State put it away? Sharp tried to drive it low. It came off of Burns. Ramsey with a flying header clear, but everybody back helping defensively for Notre Dame. Nobody able to hold the ball when it's cleared. One back by Russo, and the throw-in gives Matt Rue a chance to return. Says, let's go for broke. Final 10 minutes, Spicer off.
And it's time, Jonathan. I mean, if you're Notre Dame, you got to start to throw numbers forward. You got to start to take more chances. You're not going to get criticized if you lose 2-0 at home and you went for it. But 1-0 does no good for you. You cannot drop deep. You can't be putting 11 players behind the ball in your defensive third. Take some more chances. Play a little more direct. See if you can find a decent chance or two to possibly get that equalizer.
Ramsey takes the throw in. As we go under 10 minutes in this one, Notre Dame again has to turn around and play Friday night at North Carolina, which is coming off of a 1-1 tie against Virginia Tech over the weekend. Michigan State doesn't play until Sunday against Rutgers. And you see our schedule of next Sunday on ACC Network. Right now, though, Notre Dame trying to come from behind. Wyatt Lewis looking for Burns, won the header. Burns and Bafor trying to create some separation on the near side. Ferguson, usually so good with the long diagonals, sent that one out of the reach of Burns. This will be a pretty good win And for a
Re-entering the pitch
Michigan
for
State
Michigan
team
State, number 9,
that was
Grayson
under
Mercer.
500 last year at 6-9-2,
Number 8,
tied for 6th in the 9-team Big Ten. Grayson Mercer re-enters, and you'll see Michigan State use these subs mostly before the 5-minute mark. When the winning team subs under 5 minutes, the clock still stops. Radavoisa trying to spin between two. Elijah Howe in the way of that one. We've had drama in the other ACC games tonight. Clemson came from behind and has completed that comeback to win 3-2 over South Florida. James Madison tied Virginia with 16 seconds left. So 7.5 minutes is enough time for Notre Dame if they can find it. This is Rue. No shots on the game for the leading scorer. Neat header by Stout to keep possession for Michigan State. And here's Gugamis on the near side. Top of the penalty area, room for Mercer. Now Gugamis going 1v1. Already into the corner, and no nonsense tackle from Josh Ramsey. Bruletti with a whiff, and see if Notre Dame can break out of its own half. Cristiano Bruletti into the tackle. Sharp still continuing before Burns picked his pocket. Spadafora will drive it low. Nobody there on the backside. And now Williams and Mercer in a big man's foot race. And Mo Williams did really well to keep that in and keep it moving. And Daniel Russo wiggles out of traffic. Bafour whistled for the foul near midfield, and Michigan State will slow it down. This is one of the weird things about the college game, Patty. It actually behooves you to take a yellow card foul there because it stops the clock.
Yeah, indeed. The timing certainly is a little antiquated college soccer. One of the things I think many coaches is trying to change, but you're right, the clock ticking on those free kicks kill a minute or so.
Michigan State looking for that corner. Gugamis trying to play off of Mercer. They got tangled up. And Grayson Mercer just going to play the Daryl DK ball and go to the corner and let guys bounce off him. 6'2", 201-pound Mercer. And a lot of discussion away from the ball. The clock has stopped.
Not a lot from Grayson Mercer that he's done tonight will show up on the score sheet, but he's put in a workmanlike performance. I mean, he has been in good spots. He's done a really good job in hold-up play, and now he's really helping the team throughout that, just killing time, getting deep in that Notre Dame half, and frustrating the Irish back line.
Notre Dame is trying to play direct at the moment. The quality of the long balls has been intermittent, shall we say, as Eby plays that one out for a throw. Notre Dame goes quickly back to Williams. Falls to Rue, top of the penalty area. Notre Dame bench up in arms because Mo Williams came flying for the ball. And he sure did hit Spadafora while he did it, but Spadafora never jumped. And Williams winds up with the yellow card.
And I think Mo Williams will be a little hard done getting a yellow card here. It's just going up. He does not extend the arm. I'm not even sure that's a foul, Jonathan, let alone a yellow card. So that's hard.
I don't think so. No, I don't think it's a foul. But at least it was a yellow card, so it stopped the clock if you're Notre Dame. Once the foul was called, he's like, hey, give me the yellow.
You know, one of the things that has surprised me, especially in the last 10 minutes, is that Notre Dame has shown no ability or no intent to press Michigan State in their own half. That center back tandem of Elijah Howe and Will Eby has not really looked comfortable on the ball all night, and yet Chad Riley electing to sit in deep and still continue to try to play through possession as opposed to pressing and trying to create a turnover and find a chance through that.
All right, final 4 minutes, clock moving again. Notre Dame needs the ball. Michigan State, I think, going to open some eyes with this performance, maybe. Again, hadn't been really tested against one of the power teams on the season, and handling that first test pretty well today. Not out of the woods yet. Elijah Howe, number 3, getting the position and winning the foul from Ento to run some more time off the clock. Only the second game of the year for Howe that is counted. He played in the Loyola game that was no contest. And now the clock will be stopped due to the delay. And they had been using Josh Mason back there, and Howe has come right back in the last game and now this one. Same result, big old 0 on the scoreboard. So there's Michigan State subbing with less than 5 minutes left and leading, so the clock stops for that. Kerrigan back in for Stout. And they go to Mercer in the corner. Finds Kerrigan, he can go to work from here. I mean, Patty, Notre Dame's having trouble with that first pass when they win the ball here.
No, I mean, we talk about Notre Dame pressing deep and trying to lock Michigan State in, see if they can get a turnover. We're seeing on the flip side for Michigan State up a goal. I mean, they have locked Notre Dame deep in their own defensive half and show no signs of letting them out.
The shouts growing more and more frantic as we wind down under 2 minutes in this one. Big switch by Ramsey. Lewis off the mark again, looking for Rue. Kelly's clearance, though, straight up the gut. Won by Notre Dame. Bafour quickly closed down by Bruletti to win it back for Michigan State. Notre Dame throw. I don't even know if they're going to get a shot off, Patty.
I mean, they show no signs, certainly, of it, although here you go with Enso down that right-hand side.
Given as a corner kick, so this is the opportunity for Notre Dame. Ramsey up, Ferguson up. Williams in the middle of it, and Bafour to deliver. Headed high by Ferguson. He got a look. Notre Dame thought it took a deflection, but it's a goal kick with the clock running. For some reason, Patty, the road team in this series maybe going to win a 7th in a row.
Well, I mean, this has been a masterclass on tactics from Damon Rensing and this Michigan State team. I mean, he set them up for success. They tactically were very sound. They dared Notre Dame. They asked questions of Notre Dame. How are you going to break us down? And ultimately, Notre Dame never found the answer. They never really even put a real chance on frame. And you see what it means. This is a huge top 10 win on the road for this Michigan State Spartans team.
Hey, Sparty may be back. Michigan State won.